card for one of the thing. So let's take a look at the deck that I have together, which is definitely substandard, not ideal at the moment, and try and put together something a little more complete. So the deck that I'm playing with right now is this. And this is definitely not the best deck that it could be, but it's got a lot of the things that it needs to have, and has, I mean, definitely some room for improvement for sure, but has some cool tools in it. So the main idea behind this deck is the Scarab God is a win condition. Once you get the Scarab God down on the board, he's really hard to deal with, because if he dies, he just comes back to your hand. So unless they have some sort of exile tool, some way to get rid of him permanently, he's out there forever. And he can bring creatures back from the graveyard as large creatures and just end things that way. So the whole point of the deck is to stall. It's to prevent my opponent from getting anything done in the first couple of turns, until I have time to get the Scarab God down with backup and progress from there. So a lot of my plan is going to be sit back on stuff like Essence Scatter or Cancel, and counter my opponent's spells, or use stuff like Doomfall or Ravenous Chupacabra, which, let me tell you, is a hell of a card name, in order to destroy my opponent's stuff as they get stuff out. And then Unsummon is in there right now because this deck is, frankly, not ideal. I'm trying to put together enough stuff to be able to do the things I want, but, like, it's not easy to get all the cards, given how cards are kind of dripped out piecemeal and given to you bit by bit. So since I've decided that this is the deck that I want to play, I'm going to spend some of these wild cards and make this deck better. So first things first, let's get some more Scarab Gods in here. That is the tough one, because that's a mythic, so that's definitely the hardest to get. And then, the real question is, what other changes do we want to make? How do we want to adapt this not ideal deck into something a little bit better? I'm not going to need Windstriders, I don't think. Like, there's a lot of things that are in here as sort of stopgap measures until I get cards that are good. Reaver Ambush is fine, but almost anything that has 3 power or less is going to get hit by Moment of Craving anyway, -2/-2, versus just exile the card. But this is cheaper and it gains me life, so I'm probably going to want another one of those instead. Well, I mean, now that I actually say it out loud, I'm kind of thinking about it. How much do I need creature kill in the deck versus just stall, right? Like, I've got 4 Essence Scatters for sure. I think I want to add some additional Supreme Wills, and I think I want to add Champion of Witch is a rare, that's going to be a problem. I think I want to add more Cancels as well. So let's get Supreme Will, because I do want more counters. I think more counters is going to be the best way to deal with things that my opponents are doing. Counters and card draw. So I want to have the full complement of Opts, I suspect. And I want to have the full complement of Hieroglyphic Illumination. It definitely does not. This is really recent. It's still in beta right now, closed beta. So you have to sign up to a mail list and hope that you can get a key that way. It only has the most recent 2 blocks, so it's not even full current standard. But Dominaria is also about to come out in like a week, 2 weeks, and at that point, when Dominaria releases on MTG Arena, Arena will have the exact same card list as real world standard, which at this point is the most recent 3 blocks. Basically a year and a half worth of Magic. So right now it's only the most recent 2 blocks, Ixalan block and Almond Cat? Sure, save. I'm gonna come back to this anyway. This is all that's on there right now, is the Ixalan block and the Amonkhet block. Both of which are actually fairly interesting in terms of theme. Like, Amonkhet is very Old Egypt themed. So there's kind of Egyptian-looking gods and a lot of kind of callbacks to that kind of construction and yeah, just sort of a bunch of stuff like that. And then Ixalan has this sort of like fantasy pirates versus dinosaurs thing going on. So that's like I don't know that much about the setting, but that's like where the cards are going. So back to here. What other changes do I want to make in order to try and make this sort of a more competitive version, a more final form version of this deck? And I think, like, I don't have the cards now to get more Scarab Gods, unfortunately. I don't have the wild cards. But another Vraska's Contempt is probably good because it's an instant speed effect. And in general, I want more instant speed effects. Another Doomfall, maybe 2 more Doomfalls is probably where I want this to be. Champion of Wits is good if I could get more of those, but those are rare. I wanted to get 2 more Illuminations. I wanted the full complement of Illuminations in this deck. That's an easy make. For sure I'm going to want these. And in fact, I'm going to want these in any blue deck I ever make, because these are good-looking cards. And I can probably get rid of some of these sort of extraneous big things, because my win condition really is just Scarab God. I'm not going to have to worry too much about playing something big at the end of the game. So what are we at right now? 62, which means I can get rid of 2 more things. Cancel is a little expensive, but I'm kind of happy having that. That saves me from having to make 2 more Supreme Wills. I think I'm happy with negates. I feel like a lot of the meta is going to be this deck or blue-white control with either like token makers with like Embalm Internalize or Approach of the Second Sun, which is a fascinating way to win the game. Approach of the Second Sun is a 7-mana sorcery that says, if it's the first time you've cast this card, put it 7 cards deep into your library. If it's the second time you've cast this card, win the game. And in this same kind of shell, just a bunch of blue and white control, creature kill, counter spells, that kind of stuff. It's a fascinating way to play the game. The question is, I think this deck might, as it is, be a little too heavy on creature control. So I can potentially limit that a little bit and just go deeper on card draw and stuff like that. Unsummon is probably not where I want to be, given how much other support I have. What is this now? This is 60. I definitely want another Vraska's Contempt. That's a better way of controlling the board. Get in there. And that can let me cut down... Direfleet Poisoner I think is really cute. I don't think it's good, but I think it's cute. Especially because a lot of the ways to beat this deck is to get a couple threats too many, like overwhelming the counters, or just getting a threat early, like something big, or relatively big, in the first couple of turns, before I have the ability to cast a counterspell. So something like this, which can just come in on defense and surprise kill a creature, especially if it's like a 1-power creature, something that's not that big a threat, this can just eat it and then stay out for the rest of the game and still cause problems, like make it hard for my opponent to attack. I don't need like stuff like this, sort of big expensive threats, really. Windstrider I think is cute, but probably isn't necessary. The reason it's in the deck is because it has Flash, which means that I can play it at instant speed. I don't need to proactively play it on my turn. I can wait for my opponent to do stuff, and at the end of my opponent's turn, if I still have mana up, if I haven't needed to counter anything, then I can drop the Windstrider. And that's even better in the mirror match, because I can drop Windstrider during their end step, and if they want to deal with it, they have to use their mana then. They have to play counterspells then, and that could potentially leave them unable to deal with whatever threat I play on my proper turn, if I'm going to drop a Scarab God or something like that. So I like it, especially for the mirror, and I suspect I'm going to be playing a fair amount of the mirror. I just don't know if it's good enough. Never might be a little bit too slow for this deck, but I'm leaving it in anyway. This is basically completely unnecessary, but it's cool, I guess. Final Reward also is slow, but at least it's instant speed, so I can kind of do it reactively and not leave myself open. What else do I want to change? I think I want more Doomfalls, and I think I don't need Reaver Ambush. So I think I can make that trade just even. Out a Reaver Ambush, in a Doomfall. Because this is also good in the mirror. It allows me to do something while they're not playing any threats early on, and prevent them, potentially, from being able to do stuff to my cards later on. So this is okay now. Still not perfect. Ideally, I'd like to get in more Champion of Wits. I was looking up a deck list earlier. Let's see if I can bring it up, actually. Hang on a second. So let's see if this works. Yeah, you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Okay, cool. So what was... Look up the history. Where was this? Was it this one? I think it was this one. Yeah. So this is what people are touting as the sort of ideal build of this deck. Unfortunately, I'm out of Mythic Wildcard, so I can't really get Liliana in here. Dusk Legion Zealot seems not quite right. I don't think I have any of these Bloodfasts, but maybe I can. So Bloodfast is one of the things that I'm looking at. Yeah, have none of them. Okay. The other one... Well, let's change my filters here. I don't have to own the card, right? So this is good because card draw, right? Card draw's good. But there's also search for Aztaka? Azataka? Crap, what is this card? It's some... I'm gonna find it here. It's... Where is it? Here. Azcanta! Haha! Figured it out. This also eventually gets you to more card draw. To, again, better at winning the mirror, which is the point of this kind of card. So maybe I have 2 of these in, and I can cut stuff like Windstrider, and I can cut... I'm keeping in a Cryptic Serpent for now as an additional threat, because I only have the 2 Scarab Gods. So maybe I can cut Final Reward as a little slow, and then just get my better answers with this card? Let's try that. I'll get 2 of these in there. Spend some wild cards. Make a deck. Direfleet Poisoner, still probably not ideal, but I like it. I think it's cute. I'm gonna keep it for now. And I'm gonna want a Champion of Wits. I'm gonna want more Champions of Wits, actually. Okay, goodbye, Direfleet Poisoner. I lied. Oh, I already have another one. Cool. I don't need to spend a wild card on it. Yahtzee. So this is gonna do it. Oh, one last thing that I think is important to say out loud. Right now, because of the way MTG Arena is structured, it's set up as only the only mode of play is quick match. So you hit the play button and it'll match you against some other person based on rank, which is not very transparent. I have no idea what rank I am, or how to measure myself against other people, or even what the rank symbols mean, so whatever. But then you just play one game and that's it. So that's the structure of the game. This means that one of the things that they've done to kind of mitigate randomness is they actually skew your starting hand to be closer to the average of your land to spell ratio. So if you have an average of 2.8, like if your average is 3 lands for every 4 spells, or 2 lands for every 4 spells, or whatever, they'll actually generate 2 different starting hands and give you whichever one is closest to that average. Which means there are inflection points of how likely you are to get a certain number of cards in your opening hand. So, anywhere between 22 and 25 lands, you are most likely to get 3 lands in your opening hand, followed by 2. Above 25, so 26 is the next inflection point, you're most likely to get 3 followed by 4. So in a deck like this, with a lot of card draw, I want to aim for slightly more lands in my opening hand, which is why I have exactly 26 lands. If this was a more aggressive deck where I didn't want as many lands, then I would be at exactly 22. And anything in the middle is sort of a little unnecessary. Like, you kind of don't want the extra lands so that you're not drawing more lands later in the game when you need spells, but you want to have enough lands that you get a good opening hand. And because of the way that the MTG Arena system deals with opening hands, you want to be at exactly one of those inflection points. So this is how the deck is structured. This is why the 26 lands as opposed to any other number. And I think this is enough to get started with. We can play a few games, we can see what other people are playing, and we can make some decisions based on what we're seeing and what kind of needs to be fought against, right? What needs to be countered, basically, right? Like, it's all about what kinds of decks I'm seeing and what I need to fight against those specific decks. Because I'm not going to have the opportunity to do any kind of sideboarding. It's just play one round and hope you do well. Alright, so here we go. This is a decent opening hand. I have one counter spell, I have one kill spell, and I have some... Well, I have two kill spells, and I have some draw, and I have enough lands that I'm going to be okay. They're all tapped lands, which isn't ideal, but it's good enough for me to not want to go down a card in order to try and get a better hand. And again, like, these decisions are made sort of in a vacuum. I don't know what my opponent is playing. I don't know whether they're going to be a more aggressive deck. I don't know what kinds of things I'm going to need in order to fight against them. So I have to make these decisions without knowing what I'm up against. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Well done. Good call, Sainiku. Sorry about that. I completely forgot I had the monitor capture open. Aha! This is an aggressive deck. Okay, cool. Not that aggressive, though, apparently. So my goal right now is to be able to play Supreme Will next turn. So I'm going to play the Boneyard this turn to make sure that next turn I have the island for 3 untapped lands. And then I'm not doing anything this turn because I want to be able to react to what he's doing. And once I know, like, what he's doing, at the end of his turn, I'm going to cast Opt to draw a card, and then adjust kind of what I'm looking for based on what he's done. This could be a little more. A little more. Not too much more, but like a little more. Alright, you do whatever things you're going to do. Does this work? If I hit end turn, is it still going to stop? Because I put a stop in? I don't want to do anything until that happens. Waiting for him to do something. So, red-black. Red-black is typically an aggressive color pair, but he's got Traveler's Amulet in here. He's got some interesting card choices if he's going for a mostly aggressive deck, right? Like, this is a card that is going to let him get lands out of his deck, but it's also going to slow him down a little bit. Like, he's spending 2 mana in order to find an appropriate land. And you revealed an island, so this is like a 3-color deck, maybe more? That's a lot of colors. You can go to the end of the turn, that's fine. Alright, so do I want to negate? If he's ramping up to something big, I probably do want a negate in the near future. He's got blue, so he might have counter magic. I don't know what his blue is there for. Like, I have no idea what I'm up against. So I'm going to say negate's probably not what I need. And see if I can get something better. Like, I really just want more lands right now. Looks like I have found more lands. Do I think he's going to do anything dangerous next turn that I need to have Supreme Will up? That's a really good question. I have no idea. So I'm going to hold it open. Rainbow decks are great. I'm not knocking rainbow decks. They're just typically real slow. Okay, move to combat. What are you doing? What's your plan? He might be doing this all as control decks, too. So if I don't do anything, he's not going to do anything either. Which, I mean, that's great. I can win that war. Like, that's what negate is for. It's really interesting to play this kind of deck in such a varied meta. Like, I have no idea what my opponents are going to be playing from game to game. So it's a lot harder to prepare for what I think they might be doing. I think I have enough mana available that I probably don't need the Fetid Pools here. So I'm going to cycle this and get some more cards. Watch, now he responds to this because I'm tapped out. Nope, he's not that smart. Okay, cool. He wasn't baiting me that hard. I might need a Champion of Wit sooner rather than later, but I'll let it go for this turn. Like, next turn, if I don't draw a land, I'm going to need the Champion. Because I really want to hit my land drops. That's very important. What is this? Sacrifice a desert, deals 2 damage to each opponent. Wild. Okay, cool. Sounds like he's not doing anything. He's not doing anything. I could cycle this, or I could just cast it and get things. I'm going to wait, though. See what I draw here. Cool, I drew land. Never mind. Everything's cool. We can wait. We can just keep waiting. Because I want to have counter backup when I play Scarab God. I don't want to just play it into an empty board and let him react to it. I want to have a sense of what he can do before I play Scarab God and potentially risk losing it. Yo! He's playing Planeswalkers! Angrath the Flame Chained. What a guy. Each opponent discards a card and loses 2 life. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. It gains his... You know what? I could just play it and then Vroska's Contempt it. So yeah, get it on the board. That's great. I'm so glad that you have Planeswalkers. Oh, but then he's going to make me discard a card, which I don't want to do. But whatever.
Stokes the forge.
I suspect I can discard Moment of Craving without really running into any problems. If he passes priority without activating it, I'm going to snap Contempt it, because I don't want him to get the ability off. If he does get the ability off, I can discard Moment of Craving without feeling like I've lost too much. This one specifically might have been better to counter, just so I don't have to discard a card. But I'm not that bad off, even if I do have to discard a card. What's he waiting for? Why not just activate Angrath? What are you waiting for? What do you expect to happen, dude? No, nothing? You're just gonna sit there? You sit there and wonder why I allowed you to play a Planeswalker? You asked permission and I said yes? And now you're just confused? I've just completely blown his mind. Like, he has no idea what to do now. I'm sitting here with 5 mana untapped. He played his Planeswalkers. He's played his Planeswalker, and it hit the ground. And he's just flabbergasted. Like, hands off the keyboard. What the heck is going on? Okay, yeah, sure. This is as expected.
No fire, no steel.
You got me. I have to discard a card. Alright, let's just do this now. Hey, we found a negate. Alright, Champion wins. I want to take that action. We found a land, so I'm going to keep the land. I'm keeping Negate, and I'm keeping Scarab God. I don't need to keep Cryptic Serpent. I like Supreme Will, but I don't need... No, I kind of do need it. In fact, I think I need it more than the Negate, so goodbye, Negate. And that's that. Although, maybe Hieroglyphic Illumination was the correct toss. I don't know. Questionable. I mean, if he's going to toss another Planeswalker down, I'm absolutely going to counter it. There's no question in my mind. Oh, hey, look, it's a thing that I'm going to counter. Counter target spell. Please do not play Scarab God against me. I am the one who plays Scarab God against you. On the other hand, if I just play Scarab God, he's probably going to have the card that exiles it, the same thing that I played. So I'm really hesitant to actually just play Scarab God right now. If I still had the Negate in hand, I would absolutely play it. So, I mean, lesson learned, right? Negate was the keep. I should have tossed the Hieroglyphic Illumination, because the whole point of Hieroglyphic Illumination right now is to draw me a Negate. I mean, I can at least attack him, right? We can get this done. But now I have a threat on the board, so he kind of does need to do something about that, which means I can hold back. Like, maybe I just Hieroglyphic Illumination now, and see what I draw. And don't worry about placing Scarab God until he does something about my champion. Unless he just drops another Scarab God right now, in which case I'm sad. Roll sad. Well, he's doing things. Things are happening. A lot of black. Trial of Zeal deals 3 damage to any target. Huh. That's a good way to get rid of the champion. Okay. Let's draw some cards and see what happens. Is he gonna counter my illumination? That'd be wild. Yeah, okay, you can play it. That's fine. Rest in peace, Champion of Wits. Alright, it's your move, buddy. What are you gonna do with the Trial's ability? Okay, yeah, as expected. Alright, I think I want to eternalize the champion before I start trying to do anything else. It's expensive, which is a little bit of a bummer. It'll leave me with 1 mana up. But I feel like most of his threats are non-creature, so Essence Scatter isn't going to do everything that I need it to here. Maybe I'm okay. Maybe I'm okay for a turn. Like, I don't want to... Again, I don't want to play Scarab God until I have something that can keep it alive, which Essence Scatter won't do. This is an actual person. I think I'm going to do Champion of Wits and just leave myself open for a turn and see where that gets me, like what he's going to hit me with. Because most likely... No, I don't like that. I'll wait a turn, and then I'll have Champion of Wits with Essence Scatter back up. At least that much I can do. Yeah, I'm still not sure what his game plan is. Like, he's got to have a plan. Maybe it's just enormous threats. Just super expensive things all the time forever. Oh, he even had a counterspell that turn. Yeah, that was a terrible turn to try and play anything into him. Yeah, all gameplay in MTG Arena right now is against actual people, as far as I know. I don't think there exists AIs. Alright, still playing lands. That's good. Lands are good. Man, this dude has an expensive deck. Look at all the rares he's got. Rares and mythics. As far as the eye can see. Okay, I'm going to play a regular champion here. That seems fine. See what he says about it. I have some stuff to get rid of. Like, Essence Scatter I don't think is going to be doing much here. And I'm happy to get rid of the Field of Ruin. I'm going to take that action. Toss the field, toss one of these Essence Scatters, and then just leave stuff up, and I can Hieroglyphic Illumination at the end of the turn. Yeah, I'm okay. This is a good start. And then with another mana up, I'll have 3 after I Eternalize Champion of Wits. Hostage Taker. Exile another target creature or artifact until Hostage Taker leaves the battlefield. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any type to cast that spell. So if this goes through, and I do not want this to go through, he'll be able to cast my Champion of Wits. More than that, I will not be able to eternalize my Champion of Wits. So no, you are not allowed to have a Hostage Taker. What am I? 6, 7, 8. I might cycle this rather than spending the 4 to draw 2. Yo, Chun and Rice, thank you for the host. Nope, no combat, no combat. It's your turn. Not fighting. Like, I'm not sure if this is control against control, or if he's just like some kind of weird mid-rangey thing with a million threats. Is it my turn? Sure, it could be my turn. I'm debating cycling this rather than waiting and drawing 2. I think I want the card advantage, though. Oh, we found a Doomfall. I like this. I want to see what he's got in hand. And this leaves me with all kinds of options afterwards. Let's try and make you discard something. What are you doing here? What is your game plan, my dude? Show me what you got. Reveal to me your secrets. Do you even have blue mana up? You don't. Look at you. Trying to... Okay, sure. What are you lightning striking? My face? You're lightning striking my face? Who is this guy? Why do you think this is a good idea. Okay, cool. Target opponent sacrifices a creature. That's something. Destroy target creature. Okay, so you have some threats here, and none of them matter in the slightest. I guess I will get rid of this one because this is the least expensive thing. And with the, like, I can actually just straight up play Scarab God right now. And I'll play it into the Chupacabra, and he'll kill it, and it'll go back to my hand, and that doesn't matter at all. Or I can wait, and how... No, let's just do it. Whatever. You want to play cards? You can play cards. Get in there. Now it's like, unless this is something that exiles my Scarab God, or is a threat I am unable to deal with, this game is kind of mine. I'm okay with leaving myself open this turn, because he's not doing anything relevant with the Chupacabra. Like, whatever, he plays a Chupacabra, and the Scarab God goes back to my hand, because Scarab God is an amazing card. Like, that's fine. I'm okay with walking into that. Like, let's get this out of the way now, and then I just play it again, because it's amazing! When Scarab